I'm proud of the way the guys fought today.
Conference championship game without being a player.
Wow. I thought that was good emotional sound, but now I'm really bummed out.
Yeah.
What's the number one reason the Rams lost, bro?
Nick just said Devontae's played in more conference championships than any player
without making a Super Bowl. I believe so. Yeah,
really?
He's now 0 for 5, and Josh can check me on that. I believe that's the case. Yeah.
Look.
Well, I'm sure Nick is going to make fun of Devontae for crying, right? Because he made fun of other players for crying in the playoffs. Let's see if he does it.
Look, in a game where both quarterbacks were excellent, okay? In a game or a series where the teams are so evenly matched that in 3 games, and one of them went to overtime, 3 points separated the teams. 3 points.
Yep.
So these teams are evenly matched. You play the game tomorrow, it might be a different outcome, right? I hate to kind of put it on the fumbled punt return.
Wasn't great.
That was the game.
No.
That was, to me, that was the game. And look, I said Josh Allen had to wear the loss against, Denver. C.J. Stroud had to wear that loss against you guys. This was the game. This is when, because he just kind of stumbled. It's unfortunate, but he just, I don't know if he got intimidated because the defender was so close, but he stumbled. And Darnold, of course, throws a touchdown on the very next play.
And he had already muffed the punt.
Yes, he had already dove on and saved. But that's when Seattle took control. I get that they were leading 17-13, but that is when it was like, oh, they got control of the game.
Yep.
Yes.
And from that point on, the Rams were playing catch up. That was it. Now, it could have flipped the other way to where the Woolen, the defensive back for the Seahawks, who had the unsportsmanlike conduct, which was terrible. Maybe in a different circumstance, that could have cost it. But when teams are this close, when both quarterbacks are cooking and the defense cannot stop them. Because a lot of people are saying, oh, Seattle's defense. I've seen a lot of pundits say it was the defense or not Seattle, the Rams defense.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, look at these numbers. Because Seattle's vaunted defense wasn't getting it done either. The Rams had outplayed Seattle's offense in everything. Yeah. They had more first downs, everything, more yards per play. Rush ran the ball better, passed the ball better as far as yards per attempt. And so I get that their defense couldn't stop Sam Darnold in Seattle, but Seattle's defense couldn't stop the Rams. It came down to that one play, and that's when the Seahawks took control.
I think that is fair. That being said, and it feels like it's open season on the Rams special
Well,
teams.
it's been bad. And every loss just about,
You know what?
Missed field goals, whatever.
If your defense falls off a cliff, then you open yourselves up to little mistakes by your special teams being catastrophic. Because before Thanksgiving, we were like, hold on, is this Rams team good at everything besides special teams? And then after Thanksgiving, they went from first in points to 25th, 6th to 26 in yards, big plays, 4th to last. They fell off. And I know that's
They did.
I think when you allow Seattle to score 31 points, you are walking a tightrope. You need great games from everybody, rather than just, hey, we shut down Sam Darnold. And they've been flirting with this for a while.
Listen, that's fair. What's also, I think, fair and accurate is, to Brew's point, these teams played 3 times, and the 2 games Seattle won, there was catastrophic special teams error by the Rams in both. The first one was the missed kick coverage lanes on the Rashid Shaheed punt return that flipped that game, and then this one where you fumble it. And by the way, that has been the only thing that Sean McVay, some game management stuff, but his whole tenure with the Rams, they've been bad at special teams. So I don't know why. I just know that by Brew's favorite stat, EPA, the Rams over the last, since McVay's been there, have been the worst special teams team in the league by a lot. And well, here's what's extra weird. Second worst has been the Packers, and it's those two by a lot, and that's McVay's guy. Like something about I don't
just
know
not a
why
focus on it.
they
It's
maybe they
higher-
don't focus
they
on
don't
it.
focus on
Maybe
it,
it's not.
apparently.
Maybe they spend all their time doing other stuff. I'm not sure. So I think that's fair. But I want to flip it a bit from a negative to a positive.
Sure.
Because despite all that, I thought the Rams were going to win. And I thought the Rams were going to win because after the Woolen taunting, they got a one-play touchdown as well, to Puka. And then they had a nice, long, methodical drive. It's like Stafford's going to punch it in, and Darnold's going to be down 3, and we'll see what happens. And the Los Angeles Rams, with I believe the MVP at quarterback, a future first-ballot Hall of Famer probably, and Devontae Adams as one receiver, and Puka Nacua as the other receiver, their 2 biggest passes of the year went to Terrence Ferguson and Kenneth Mumpfield. Because the Seahawks defense said, we're not going to let the other 2 guys beat us.
Exactly.
And I think that is really spectacular.
Yep.
That the Seahawks defense said, okay, we know what your number 1 option is. We know what your number 2 option is. We know your number 3 option is probably either your tight end or your running back. And somehow we're going to make it so you are throwing the biggest passes of your season. And I'm not taking shots at Terrence Ferguson and Kenneth Mumpfield, but it's those guys are deep on the receiver depth chart. Between them, they had 22 catches this season.
They
And
know they could single cover them. You saw
Right.
they doubled, like you said, the star.
It's just so funny to see the difference of that, because I made a similar take about who Josh Allen had to throw the ball to on the potential game-winning drive against the Broncos, how he threw to 2 receivers who had a total of like 12 targets combined. And now that's the type of conversation that Nick wants to have about Matthew Stafford. I'm sorry, that's real rich. That's real rich. And also, I didn't see him make fun of Devontae for crying like he did with the Bills. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. I also reject the muff punt thing because it got neutralized. I've already shared this now multiple times with the penalty from the Seahawks. Both were kind of like, oh my gosh, can you believe this? And if the Seahawks lost, you'd say that was the reason why they lost, right? So it really kind of neutralized it more than anything. But it was in those zoomed in singular moments. The Seahawks converted, especially on that final drive, to now have to only punt the ball, and now the Rams get 20, they get the ball back with like 20 seconds and no timeouts, and the Rams failing in those moments that Nick just outlined. That was the game. That was the game. The Seahawks converted enough to obviously wear down the clock and use the timeouts, and the Rams did not. That's what it all came down to. Both quarterbacks played unbelievable. Both defenses really got cooked at various stages throughout the course of the game. Both teams had the most awful mistake you could ever imagine: muffed punt, taunting penalty, both leading directly to 7 points. But in the absolute must-have, gotta-have-it moments, the most important, the game is going to be won or lost right now, the Seahawks succeeded, and the Rams didn't. Just the way it went. And it easily could have been reversed. And the reality is that sometimes the margin of error really is tiny. And that's why it's like, I don't think it's fair just to put it 100% on special teams. It's definitely a contributing factor, but they lost to the Panthers. They lost to the Falcons. Like, these things set you up to not have the 1 seed and home field advantage and be able to endure a tough, weird divisional loss. We can blame special teams for why the Rams lost against the Eagles, but like, you were dominating them, and then you did nothing in the second half, and Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown absolutely cooked you. That's the reality too. That's part of the story too. And the whole thing with special teams is you can put a blame on the coach to a degree because you're not prioritizing that depth, because it really is just more a matter of depth. It's not necessarily coaching or necessarily because there's only so much that you're going to do from that perspective. But it is going to be more of a depth thing, and you can make the argument that the Rams would always be kind of struggle with that because of the draft capital that they've had over these years, because of the moves that they've made. So, it just is what it is in that regard. But the Rams were clearly good enough to win, but the margin of error does shrink, especially if your defense can't come up with big stops, and especially they could not force Sam Darnold to make those mistakes. They could not force those turnovers. That's ultimately what it gets boiled down to. But then this is also a real thing that happened as well. Their defense, that is pretty glaring. That is a stark drop-off. Everybody was talking about Shula again. They were talking about Shula like he was Jesse Minter and Halfley. And they were like, well, he's going to get a head coaching job. And that was pretty much seen as all of a guarantee. And so you didn't have the defense in this game really come up with that crucial gotta have it stop, gotta have it moment. You didn't see it, especially in that final drive for the Seahawks, where if you do stop them, you do get the ball back with a minute 30 now or something, just anything more than just a 20 seconds and no timeouts, you're in an unbelievable position to win that game. You're in an unbelievable position to win that game. The Rams could not be stopped offensively. Could not be stopped. I'm live streaming that game, watching it, and everyone's like, oh, game's over. And I'm like, what are you guys talking about? I don't care what the score could be 24-0. You can't stop obviously not 24-0. You could be down by 24. And I'm like, the Rams are going to score. The Rams could not be stopped. They were absolutely cooking the Seahawks defensively. And there were no big whoa moments where you're just like, that was huge. It just was not happening. And when they finally did, it was erased with the penalty. And the Rams said, great, thank you so much. All we did was need one extra opportunity. Boom. And we score. And boom, we scored. I just think sometimes these games, when you're watching two great teams go toe-to-toe, man, it really is just a coin flip. It really is. The reality is that these games, if we're really trying to figure out who's the best, it really is like a best of 7. But obviously you can't do that in football. And so games like these are really they're just coin flips, man. Who's going to make that play in this moment, in this game, on this day, at this time? And it's the multiverse. It really is. It's just, are we going to see this collection of positive events happening in favor of the Rams today, or more for the Seahawks, or more for the Eagles, or more for, and the best thing you can do is just be as buttoned up, as great of a team as you can be. So the odds are, when we talk about odds, it's kind of interesting. I think we kind of get it mixed up a lot of times. But when we talk about, this team is favored to beat this team, or odds are 5-1 that this team win, and it's just, what you're really trying to do is we're trying to be as great as we can, so when it is time to play the game, the odds are that we play our best, that we make the plays, because we are absolutely not perfect. You play a Rams-Seahawks game 7 times in a row, you're absolutely going to have at least one game where Matthew Stafford plays terrible. It's all but a guarantee that he is going to just get rocked. He's going to throw for 200 yards, an interception, and a fumble. Puka's held to 50 yards. It's just basic math. It's just the way it works. It's just the way it works. And we can make up that we think that When a player has that type of game in the playoffs that they choked, or when they have an amazing game, it's just because they rose to the occasion. And a lot of times it's just like, no, this is just like the variation that we got to see in this moment of time. It's just, it's a nerdy way of looking at it, but truthfully, it's probably a more accurate way of looking at it. The Philadelphia Eagles dominated the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I don't think you get that exact outcome if you play 3 straight games in a row. It's not to say that the Eagles wouldn't have won 3 times in a row, but I don't think you get a game where in 3 games in a row where Patrick Mahomes like doesn't even cross midfield until 3 minutes left in the third quarter, and he's got 3 turnovers. You're just not going to get that same variation every single time. And so when a game like this, when you're talking about such like millimeters, like the teeniest, tiniest little things, you're just like, I think a game like this, the football gods have way more say in an outcome than I think anyone is really ever comfortable admitting. I really do believe that. I really do believe that. But at the end of the day, the Seahawks did execute in the gotta have it moments, and the Rams simply did not. And again, the reason why I'm uncomfortable even just 100% emphasizing that is because I don't look at it as in the Rams weren't good enough, or they're incapable of it, or the Seahawks are always capable of it, and that's why they got it done. And it's like, it's not the way I see it, especially when you're talking about 2 such evenly matched teams. And this is why I said going into this game, it's like, who can predict this game? We saw how the other 2 games went. It was mayhem. How could you have any confidence? How could you have any confidence in how a game like this would unfold? It would be fool's confidence. And we got a wild game. We got one of the best playoff games you could ever imagine. Like literally, statistically, one of the greatest playoff back and forths in the history of the NFL. Rivaling the 13-second game. So there you go. That's what this came down to. And there wasn't any glaring, I can't believe Sean McVay called, this isn't a Sean Payton type situation, or this wasn't and again, both teams made a terrible mistake, and so it neutralized it. So it wasn't like one team missed an extra point, and now you're just like, this game's going to be decided because you just missed an extra point right now or something, or you fumbled the ball at the goal line. Like we didn't have any of those moments when you're just like, we can really point to just like even the 13-second game, you're just like, what the heck did you just allow? Right? There was a couple moments in that game when you're just like, what the heck did you just allow? Which even in that crazy game kind of tarnishes it to a degree. This game to me would have been tarnished if it didn't bounce out with both touchdowns, because then you're just like, okay, well, the one team won because the one team made an absolute devastating mistake. So it was a brilliant game, and it just didn't fall in the way of the Rams. Straight up. So the biggest reason the Rams lost, football gods. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Los Angeles Rams coming up short? What do you think the biggest reason is they lost? Let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.